Welcome back to my studio. I am waiting for a canvas to dry, my first layer of gesso on this piece, my next painting that I'm going to be working on. And I was just listening to a conversation on Clubhouse, this new social media app if you haven't heard of it. I just joined yesterday, and I guess it's like people can kind of have conversations with each other, and you're literally talking, so it's kind of like a live radio type situation almost. There's no, as far as I can tell so far, there's no like photos or anything, so you just kind of are able to like talk with people, join in on conversations about topics and stuff. I was listening to this one about like the art world and the future of, you know, what that's gonna look like in this next coming year, and art and artists, and you know, how things are kind of changing. And they talked about so many things that I have been thinking about, but especially how, I don't know, in this time where people are like not able to actually connect in person, we're kind of wanting to still be able to connect with people. A lot of people have found really great ways to do that. I don't know, I mean, hopefully things will start opening back up again soon, but I think there's so many ways, you know, that you can kind of like connect with people and really see what they're about without having to have those like in-person shows and art fairs and all these other kind of things. I mean, of course those things are great too, and there's nothing like seeing a piece of art in person. We have to do it, and I think there's a lot of value there. So I'm very excited to be on Clubhouse, because just listening to that one conversation made me feel very excited about being able to connect with people and also have conversations about, you know, your art and what we want to see the art world kind of become as this year progresses. I mean, you know, it's the end of January right now, and I am so excited for all these other things that are coming up. I have plans to be in the Super Fine Art Fair that's going to be in New York in April, hoping that things kind of open up a little bit, and as the vaccines roll out and stuff, we'll be able to do more things. But yeah, that's one of my big things coming up this year that I'm very excited about. You know, I'll be able to really get to hopefully meet some people in person and, you know, connect with other artists and stuff. So there was one collector in this chat who was talking about how, or I guess they were all kind of talking about this, how like, you know, of course the artwork is what attracts you, and you want to have pieces in your home and you want to be surrounded by things that you love, but something that really makes people understand it more or feel more connected to it is actually connecting directly with the artist and hearing like about what their life is and their story is. I mean, it I think makes the work so much more meaningful. I don't know, like sometimes I'm in my studio alone, like I feel like I'm sort of creating in this little bubble. You know, I wonder if the work really makes sense to anybody else, but being able to actually talk to other people about it makes all the difference. So, and of course we do that online, but there's nothing like actually having a conversation with your voice to another person, to actually be able to communicate in a way that's kind of deeper than surface level. So I don't know if I've shared this yet, but I finished my first big painting of this year. In my last video I talked about how I want to make a big painting every month of the year, big-ish. My next one I think is going to be 18 by 24. February is going to be a month of preparing to move my apartment and studio. I'm actually going to have a studio in my new space, so I'm really excited about that. So I'm going to try and like take it a little bit easy this month, a short month, you know, do a slightly smaller painting of the big paintings. Anyway, yeah, so I finished my first big painting of the year, and I'm so happy about it. It's maybe like one of my favorites that I've ever done. I'll show you, but I don't know if I should bring it here or... Alright, I'm bringing you down to the floor level with me because I figured this was the easiest way to show you. So here it is. This piece is 40 by 40 inches. So a lot of my paintings are like bedroom scenes or like laying in bed or being in kind of like isolated moments. I mean, that's what a lot of 2020 has been for a lot of people, I think, just kind of like having to stay home, having to like be on your own in your own space. It's something I've thought a lot about in my work, like how these spaces, you know, become kind of an extension of us, how you need to, or at least I need to kind of make it feel comfortable and have it be sort of like a comfort thing, a safe space. So that's something I'm continuing to explore in a lot of my pieces that I'm working on right now. Yeah, this one, as you can see, it's a bathroom, not a bedroom. And I also included this cat because that's been a huge part of, for me, like comfort for the last almost year. It's crazy that it's been so long since the pandemic all started. You know, it's been really hard for a lot of people, of course, and so many big changes in the world. But I think in a way, like, there's a lot of opportunity coming out of this. Like I was just talking about the Clubhouse conversation. I think people are eager to connect with each other, and I think, you know, as we have gotten used to this world of existing so much on the internet and not being able to actually connect in person and in the way that we're used to and always have been able to do, people are getting really creative about it, and something else that can come from that is being able to connect with people in places that are not where you are. So like, you know, I have met so many artists around the country and around the world who I probably never would have talked to had it not been for the pandemic. So I mean, I think we have been able to find ways to create good out of immense struggle and tragedy. And moving forward, the world is going to be completely different. So that's just what it is, and we have to figure out a way to move forward. So, like I said earlier, I'm moving out of this studio. This was my first studio after college. I didn't really have my own studio in college, but we had like shared studio space that I could use all the time. I actually got super lucky in finding this place. I was not planning on getting a studio at all. Like I really didn't know what I was gonna do, but I met my friend Alyssa, who I share the space with. She's also an artist, and she one day randomly asked me, hey, do you want to share the studio with me? And I was like, I don't know what you're talking about, like I can't afford a studio, that's crazy, but it's a small space and it turned out to be affordable, so we went for it. And I've been in this space for a little over a year and a half, I think. I moved in June or July 2019, and then throughout the last year, Alyssa was gone for like a lot of the year, so I've had the space to myself for a while. Yeah, it's been really nice to have a space. I think like for the first year, well, for most of the time I've had it, I've been of course like painting, but I feel like in the last couple months, like maybe the last 4 months, I've really kind of figured out what it is that I'm trying to do. And what I want to be doing. So I don't know. I'm very happy that I've had this space to be able to explore that. And I'm excited for my next one. I'm really excited to have a space at home. It's moving into a new apartment, and there's like a small extra room that I'm going to use as my studio. It's been nice having a space outside, but I think because I'm working right now, I only can come a few days a week, so if I come home from work, I have to travel and get here and stuff, so I think it'll make it a lot easier to work on the days that I still do other things, kind of fit in shorter studio sessions and not have to like travel here. It's not that hard, but it just like, I'd like to be doing this as much as possible, obviously, so I'm really excited to have that. So I kind of said that I've just only kind of figured out what I wanted to be doing and what my work is, which is true, but it's also not true. So I was making a lot of these kind of like body paintings in college. That's when I first started doing that and discovered that was something I wanted to do. The reason I was like originally inspired to even try something like that was I went to the Brooklyn Museum and I saw a painting by Joan Semmel, which was, I can't remember what it's called, but it's like two figures kind of laying in bed, reclined like from the perspective painted from the perspective of the person, of like the female figure in the painting. So it's like you're looking down at your own body, and I was really inspired by that. And I was like, wow, you know, so I just went home and kind of tried something, and I thought I was like basically copying it. I mean, obviously I did my own thing, but it felt a little too similar to really claim it as my own. But I ended up really liking it, and I kind of continued to explore that idea of looking down at your own body, or the way that that makes you step into the painting, but also like shows the body from a weird abstracted perspective. And I also loved using kind of like strange colors and stuff. So that's like how I first got started doing the bodies. I did a lot. I did a few like really big ones. You know, in college I had all the resources to build my own canvas stretchers and stuff. So it was great to be able to learn that. And afterwards I had to figure out what to do with them all, but yeah, so I was able to make like a lot of really large paintings kind of exploring that concept. And then when I left college, I couldn't make big work anymore. I didn't have the space, I didn't have the resources, so I kind of didn't really know what to do. I felt like I was still figuring it out for the first like year and a half. And then I got the studio, and I was painting, but I was kind of exploring like different things. I was painting like portraits of a couple different people, friends, together in domestic spaces, so still kind of doing that, but in a different way. And then this, I want to say like October, I was painting portraits, just like faces, basically, to practice faces, because that's something I always kind of struggled with. So I was just kind of like doing it to do something. And then I decided I wanted to try oil painting, because I never learned it in school because we didn't have the right ventilation or something. So I just never learned it. And I was intimidated by it for a while. Like I just really didn't know how it worked at all. But I you know, decided I just wanted to try it. I had this small oil paint set that my friend gave me like 2 years ago, because I then said that I wanted to try it, but it took me 2 years to pick it up. But then once I did this painting, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Like this is so much fun, the way that I can work with the paint and the colors. Like I felt it really suits my work and what I'm wanting to do. So with that, I decided that I wanted to learn, watched a bunch of videos, like asked some artists that I knew to give me advice, tell me what materials I needed and stuff. And then since then I've been just like going crazy with the oil paintings. My entire studio is filled with them. So I feel like that was definitely a breakthrough in figuring it out. Like once I picked up the oil paints, I was like, okay, I'm ready. I know what I'm doing. So here it is. Yeah, this is my first oil painting. I loved the way the colors looked. I painted the background pink. I've been using like pink backgrounds for a lot of my stuff, just because I like the way it comes through and the way that it, you know, affects kind of how you see things as you're working on it. And just like the yellow and oranges that I put on top of that, I just love the way that looked. So yeah, now I'm an oil painter. I love oil. It's so nice to work with. Still learning, of course. But yeah, after this painting, I was like, this is what I do now. That was it. So I think my canvas is almost dry, so I'm gonna get back to work soon. That was kind of an update of what I've been working on, where it started, a little bit of my story of how I got here and what's going on next. I'm really excited about the new studio. I don't know how I'm gonna like pack up all this stuff and move. Maybe I'll film some of that. If people are interested in seeing that, we'll see. So she's gonna keep the studio, and we're gonna try and find somebody else for her to share it with. So if you are interested in sharing a cheap studio in Brooklyn, let me know. Because it's gonna be available in March. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope this was interesting, or you know, gave you a little more insight into what I've been doing here, what I'm trying to do, whatever else. If you want to know more, leave a comment or ask a question or whatever. My Instagram is Planet Jess if you want to see my art there. If you're on Clubhouse, which I'm very excited to get into, it's also Planet Jess. And subscribe for more. Thanks for watching. Bye.